Good morning, it's the Vet with Pets podcast. I'm Elliot.
And I'm Becky.
Thank you to Vets Pets Hereford for sponsoring. So what we're going to talk about today?
The exciting new news.
Exciting news, yeah. I've got some exciting news. So as Vets for Pets, we're going to start working with the Wildside Exotic Rescue. So I think that has featured in a post on our Facebook page recently. I think Lindsay tagged us in something. So yeah, I have been super busy in lots of communications with Lindsay, trying to organise setting up a clinic site at Wildside. So the vets that they're currently using at the moment aren't able to continue doing their work. So Lindsay approached us and asked if we'd be interested. So I said yes, without too much thought.
It's just like we've got to make it work. There's so many of us here. It's like our dream, isn't it? Working with these type of animals. So.
I think.
And it's just such a good charity.
Well, they're not a charity.
What charity?
Community interest company. So they're a not-for-profit company. So I've been trying to get that organised. Hadn't quite realised how much work it would be.
I didn't realise how in depth it was going, so I thought it would just be one room that would be our ops room, our prep room, our x-ray all in one go, but no, it's been the whole shebang.
Yep, I have an operating theatre, I have an x-ray,
all separately,
a prep sort of dental area, some blood machines which I'm still trying to pin down, and dental, a little recovery room. Potentially, we're not sure on this yet, we need to finalise plans, but potentially some isolation facilities as well, because with the upcoming primate bill, which I think we mentioned in the podcast.
Yeah, we have talked about it before.
So it's going to be really difficult to keep primates as pets in the UK, rightly so, because their needs are very complicated and just can't really be met in a domestic situation. Or at least the people that can meet them, they'll have to prove that they're meeting those needs. And their welfare criteria are met. So come April 2026, that's when it comes into full force. And so from that point, it's very likely that there will be lots of probably small primates. I mean, we're not going to be talking chimps and things.
It's going to be ones that people are keeping in their house, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be squirrel monkeys and it'll be marmosets mainly, realistically. There might be the odd thing that's snuck into the UK. But I'm not too sure if it's just UK legislation or whether it's a hangover from EU legislation.
Oh, I thought it was UK because I thought it couldn't go ahead when we were still in the EU, and it is one of the things that we've been able to do separately. One of the very few things.
Yeah, I don't know, or I don't know whether it was tied into that invasive species legislation, and this was like a follow-on that was due to go ahead. I'm not sure. Just got a baby starling to feed. I'm just going to stop feeding now because he'll be due now.
But yeah, really good news for primates.
Yep. But yeah, it means that we're likely to have Wildside, probably lots of incoming
that need to be isolated before they can be put in with others.
So I think the trouble with these sort of animals is that there's all sorts of things that they can carry in terms of infection that could be transmissible to other animals that's already in the collection.
And then with humans as well, I suppose, because we're quite close.
Yeah, exactly. And also worth noting that, just see if the starling will sit on the table and be fed. And if people watch on YouTube, they can see him. So
we've got a starling in. It came in yesterday. It came in on reception, and Georgia, our animal nursing assistant, Google pictured it, which helpfully said that it was a nightingale, which we would have been very, very excited by because they're really rare.
Didn't even have a bubble of excitement. I knew it was like essentially impossible that it would be a nightingale.
But no, it's a little baby starling, but he's got an odd leg that's just constantly stuck out, but doesn't feel broken, does it?
No, so he's got some head trauma. I think the history was that he was brought in by the cat, I think. But he must have fallen from the nest because they're a cavity nesting species. And he's not quite at the stage where he would have fledged.
Maybe it's one of those ones because it's been so hot. It's got a bit hot in the nest wherever he is, and he's jumped out.
Yeah.
And then the cat's come along.
Yeah, so he's got a head trauma. He's got a wound to his propatagium on his left side, which is the flap of skin that attaches the wing to the body. So I have to keep a close eye on that, even if the leg does okay, because if the propatagium becomes too scarred and fibrotic, then the wing can't open fully, and that wouldn't be wouldn't be consistent with rehabilitation to the wild.
But he's been feeding quite well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's not taken too many now. He had like loads yesterday.
He was having like 8 at a time sometimes, wasn't he?
Just taking a few mealworms there and offering one last one.
So he's on antibiotics and he's on pain relief, isn't he? Because any cat bites that we get in, they need to go on antibiotics straight away.
Yeah. But no, so we'll see. He has got, to be fair, a little bit of swelling to his hock joint today, like his ankle joint, but yeah, I'm not sure. So
we'll give him a go.
We'll probably x-ray him later on, just see what it looks like. I just didn't want to do it yesterday because he was a bit dehydrated and sad looking, and with the head trauma as well, it might have been a risk that we would just lose him anyway. So we said 24 hours of meds and stuff. But yeah, to get back to Wildside, so we talked to Lindsay about it before, and I think went into a bit of detail on the site there and the collection. So they're not open to the public, so it's not like a zoo, although all the animals there are like animals that you would find.
And she has got a zoo licence.
No, she hasn't.
Oh, which licence? Oh, Biaza.
No, it's just so she's got a dangerous wild animals licence, which is what you need for some of those species. Okay. And the Biaza is like a membership, so I think it's a paid membership body that you can join. So to be fair, lots of these rescue type situations don't really interact with the zoo community because that's what they tend to be sort of against in some respects. Whereas, to be fair, we were supposed to do another podcast with Lindsay the other day, which didn't go ahead for various reasons. But I might be interesting to talk about some more of the ethical things that
but then there is a lot of knowledge within zoos that can be shared with rescues and vice versa about
I get the impression that Lindsay's not adverse to zoological collections, although I've not expressly asked that, because at the end of the day I would be of the opinion that I think there's plenty of people in the UK that would never have the opportunity to travel abroad and see these animals or want to. And I class myself in that sort of category. And
there is at the moment, have you seen the lynx that's just gone to Germany from a zoo, ready to be released into the wild?
Really?
Because I think it's got the right
individual to be released?
So it's a captive bred lynx in the UK, and it's gone to Germany, and I think yesterday or the day before that it was in its release pen ready, and they're going to do lots of assessments on it to make sure that it's scared enough of humans and it can hunt. But it's going to be one of the first ones captive bred to actually be released and be wild. So there's things like that, isn't it?
And there's countless examples. If you look at the Durrell Zoo in Jersey Zoo, they often put out loads of data on the projects that they do across the globe, based from that site. And it's amazing some of the species that have been recovered or restored in the natural habitats.
Well, and Yorkshire Wildlife Park do a lot with the painted dogs, don't they? And they help support tracking collars and things on the wild ones and preventing snare injuries and things like that.
Although, to be fair, it's not too altruistic. So the zoo licensing, part of that stipulates that you have to donate a certain percentage to charity. So it's sort of non-negotiable. You have to do something, and that's either on site or that can be like donating money. So you could just say, well, we're not going to bother about doing anything on site. We're just going to carry on as doing what we want to do, but X percentage of our profits we'll just send to other charities. But let's get back to my point. My point is more that I think that I believe that people will only really be engaged with saving species and habitats and things if they feel like they can connect with the animals. And
it's all the signage and things that they have at the zoos. It teaches you a lot, doesn't it? Especially when they are linked with other charities and things that are abroad.
But also, there's nothing quite the same as seeing something in real life. Like even you watch some amazing documentaries on TV, but it's not quite the same as seeing it for real, even if for real is in a zoological collection. And it's just seeing the size of it and the smells of them and hearing them. Oh no, definitely. But so Lindsay's collection of rescued animals, so the majority of them are from pet trade. the biggest intake of the cats recently was it the Cat Survival Trust?
Yes.
I put the wrong name on there. I think it was that.
Those are the ones that have been.
Down.
Oh, I think the cat. Or was it the Cat Survival Trust that were organising it?
Yeah, maybe.
We better check that.
Recording.
But basically there was a collection of big cats in Kent, I think it was, wasn't it, that weren't keeping them up to standard really, and so they had a month or
so they were forced to close down, and they had a short period of time to find homes for all of these cats.
Otherwise they would have been euthanized.
But yeah, again, part of Lindsay's points is that there are these animals kept as pets in the UK, but also there's zoological collections, but there's no infrastructure for if something goes wrong and someone needs rehoming.
No, where does it go?
Where does it go? What happens?
Well, there's not even that much. There's the dangerous licence that you've got for bigger things, but things like meerkats, you don't need a licence, so no one knows how many there are in the UK or what's going on with that situation.
Yeah, exactly. So most of them from the pet trade. There's a couple of animals, well, a few animals that are from other zoological collections where they've been kicked out of groups, or they were just unable to house them for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
So the two gibbons that arrived are a brother and sister pairing, so not a breeding pair. And there's challenges with rehoming them and housing them at their current situations. They came to Wildside. So I think there's quite a collection of animals there that will be taken care of. But it's taken a lot of work to get to the point so far of trying to get stuff organised for the clinic. And
then it's trying to think about how we're safe handling them and anaesthetising them, and because it is, even though you've got your exotics cert, and we do a lot of exotics here, it's all smaller things, and it is very different for us.
The health and safety implications if a mountain lion wakes up under anaesthetic, then that would be fairly serious. Even something like a raccoon, it's not that big, but if it woke up and it was disorientated it can still But so she's got quite a variety of species there that we'll be looking at. What are you looking forward to the most? I don't know. Actually, I think what I'm looking forward to is, I've not really broached this too much with Lindsay yet, but I'd like to instigate a bit more preventative routine work. In terms of anaesthetising a select number of animals a year to do the health checks and the dentals and things like that. And I'd like to work with them to instigate some training stuff so that can do more conscious work with the animals.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because although I think the team there are really proactive at letting animals be animals and being quite hands-off, so they're not pets, I think there needs to be a middle ground where they need to be habituated and trained with people enough so you can do conscious injections or maybe even conscious blood sampling, that sort of thing.
Or even getting them, I suppose, close enough and so they're still to dart them or whatever you need to do.
Yeah. But I think in terms of the species to work with, they've got a couple of spider monkeys and a couple of gibbons, so I'm quite interested to work with those slightly larger primates.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I think the marmosets and things will just feel a bit like working with like guinea pigs and stuff because they're small.
Well, I've done a tiny bit with marmosets at my previous practice. There was someone unfortunately that bred them, and quite often it wouldn't go very well with the babies, and I've had to euthanize a few of them, and it's quite sad because they hold your hand and because they're so tiny and they are just so human. It's different to the other animals because they are just so human and the way they grasp you.
But
I suppose it isn't. They're not like we've got our sugar gliders and things like that we see here that are smallest. They're not too much bigger.
They're not too much bigger really. But no, and then I suppose to be fair, I think the mountain lions. I think the first time we anaesthetised one of those.
Yeah,
that'd be quite cool.
See how big their paws are.
And I think it'd just be exciting to just get stuck in.
I think the lemurs as well, because they're so cheeky.
Yes, actually, to be fair.
They are. They're sat there sunbathing, weren't they, under their heat lamp when we went there last time.
But yes, I think the cats and like dog-like things. I got some foxes and raccoon dogs and stuff like that.
And the actual raccoons. That's because I thought it would be the big cats, and then when we'd gone there and seen everything, I thought, the raccoons are just so cheeky and they're so cool. And
although I think with those and the mountain lions and stuff, it would just be like extrapolating from what we already do.
Yes.
Like we can work with a cat or a dog or a ferret sort of model and then adjust it. Whereas I think the primates is
it is different.
Different.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then there's
definitely.
things like the wallabies and that sort of thing, which
Yeah.
again is pretty different to what we would do here on a normal day to day. The capybara are just big rodents, aren't they?
Yeah,
So
those are cool.
I think they'd function quite the same way. As
Yeah,
guinea
the
pig,
same.
just much larger,
just
scaled
massive.
up.
Yeah. I quite look forward to getting to know like what diets they're on and things like that, and having a look into that.
Yes,
That'll be really interesting.
Yeah, and providing support to the team there on guiding.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I just look forward to researching all these bits because we are really nerdy, aren't we? The whole team.
Yeah, well, I've invested in 4 new books, one of which is a zoo and wild animal anaesthesia book. So we need to come up with anaesthesia protocols
Yeah, I
for the
was looking
species
through
there.
that. It
just
had
so that-
such weird things in it.
I
It had
know.
like starfish and stuff
like
that you could
manatee and dugongs and
manatees.
stuff like that. Like, yeah, I don't think we'll be doing that anytime soon.
No.
Although I did ask Lindsay what if someone called with like an African lion and said, "Oh, I need to home this."
Yeah.
I was like, because I was talking about the clinic setup and the size and the position of things, and I said, well, like some idea of what's going to happen in the future, and like what if someone called you saying they've got an African lion that they need to find somewhere for?
Yeah.
And she wasn't completely certain, but she indicated the answer might be they'd have to say no. But I put money on if it came down to it.
Yeah, if there was nowhere else for it to go, and I think they could definitely do it. The way they've set up all those enclosures and things, it's amazing.
Yes,
They've done such a good job.
Yeah.
It would just be a bit bigger.
Yeah, just a bit bigger and a bit more high stakes if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And then the clinic itself, so managed to source, so there's all sorts of things that we need to get hold of, but managed to source an X-ray machine. Shout out to Richard Robinson actually in Pets at Home Group.
Yeah, he's really
been
helped
really
us out.
helpful, so helpful, which is great. So yes, managed to source an X-ray machine, which we just need to get converted to be able to use there. Just looking for an X-ray processor because the one I got hold of doesn't seem like it's going to do the work.
No.
But we've got a plan B and a plan C for that.
Yeah.
So I just need to find the time to sort out.
And what else did you get then from? What did Richard help you get?
Yeah, so there was a load of stuff from a previously closed up Vets for Pets practice that hadn't been used. I think it's 8 years or so, and it was things like a dental machine, operating table, theatre light, all sorts of stuff that had just been chucked in storage. And the nature of these things, and I dare say the nature of how they're transported, means that by the time it had been moved from, it was somewhere down south up to close to us where it had been stored, it was all scratched and all marked and damaged and things. Like if you're opening up a
brand new practice, you
you're
don't
probably
want
just
it
not
to
gonna
be like
use
that.
it.
No.
Certainly the Vets for Pets model wouldn't anyway.
No. Whereas for us, it's perfect. For
Yeah,
what
so
we
for
need.
setting up this clinic is absolutely spot on. There's going to be still bits and bobs that we'll need to source, like a grill to go on top of the dental table, like the metal sort of mesh, and hopefully we've got an anaesthetic machine and an oxygen concentrator.
Yes.
Because we won't have piped oxygen. So in the practice here, when we anaesthetise patients, we've got some oxygen cylinders outside with pipe work that comes up to the practice. So that's what provides the gaseous oxygen.
We just turn it on and off and it's there all the time.
Yeah. Whereas in this situation, we'll have a machine that draws oxygen from the air, concentrates it, and then we can use that with our patients. Shout out to Ailey at Pricklebums Hedgehog Rescue. So they had a unit there which isn't in use nowadays. And I was aware of it because we discussed it previously, and so I reached out to Ailey. Hopefully she's dropping that off with me tomorrow. And then we're going to get that checked over. I'll shout out Kevin as well.
Yeah, Kevin at Burton's
is going to be really helpful and have a look at it for us. Although I was then thinking I should get him to look at the dental machine as well, but I left that Wildside, so I might have to go for a trip back down there and collect it at some point.
Maybe Kev might like to go and have a look.
Yeah, but I think once we get it all set up there, it's going to be, the stuff's going to be in practice ownership, our Vets for Pets ownership. Some of it, I dare say, will end up in my ownership, I think, and then just on loan to Wildside. So they'll be in charge of like the upkeep and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the trouble is with some of these elements, like setting up X-ray there, you need to have a named vet.
Yes, and we have to have an RPA, don't we, as well? So a radiation protection advisor, but that could be, we've got 2 here in practice, so it could be one of them. So we just make sure everything's done safely.
I don't know, I think that might have to be an RPA there, I think, because that doesn't have to be someone clinical, I don't think.
No, it doesn't have to be someone clinical, but it just needs to be someone that's actually doing the X-rays, I think. So if it's us going there and doing it, because basically we just it's an RPS, radiation protection supervisor, isn't it? So the people advise us of the RPA, and then we have someone in practice who's just in charge of everything and making sure that we note down what exposures we're using and that everything's safe. So at the moment that's Lucy Lewis, and then Anna's just passed her test as well.
But I think the X-ray is one of the biggest challenges, because we need it there for the diagnostics of the patients, but the health and safety needs to be rigorous to make sure that it is safe. And
there's no radiation for anybody. And the walls have to be a certain either thickness or
I think this is potentially going to prove a bit of a challenge, because they want to inspect designs first. I might, so
I suppose that is good, because they can tell you then from the design if it's going to work or not before we've actually done it, and then come in.
It's just the money involved, is the thing. So it's going to be probably about $2,000 to get not even any of the X-ray equipment. So about $2,000 just to get the plans signed off and it approved and inspected and that sort of thing. The X-ray machine itself, even though it is properly second-hand, is going to cost an additional about $2,000 to us to get that functional and usable. Working. The processor, I'm going to try and source one, hopefully without charge again, but just need to find that out. The anaesthetic machine and oxygen concentrator is probably, it's worth about $2,500, I believe. But again, it's second hand, so hopefully we'll just be able to negotiate that. And Kevin's going to give us an idea on price. So there's a significant, even getting it all either very cheap or a discounted
it's
rate.
Still a significant amount.
Still a significant amount of money to get it usable. And
then it's all the legislation by having drugs and things like that there, because it's not really doable. We could take drugs and then just keep bringing them back with us, but it's not really the easiest. And you'd have to drain the anaesthetic machine every time, because the anaesthetic liquid is classed as a drug. So that all has to be stored properly, and so we have to get a VMD certificate. So
the Veterinary Medicines Directorate has an inspection process. So I've had all sorts of opinions from all sorts of different people. So like our professional indemnity insurance, a zoo vet consultant, Sarah Chapman, who was also really helpful. But so I had lots of different opinions on setting up as a veterinary premises or not. But I think my feeling is it would be easier to do it as a veterinary premises. But again, that's another like £500 or so.
And then we have to have an inspection. Is it every 3 years or something?
I think they vary the inspection length depending on the risk. I suspect they'll class this as high risk, so it probably will be 3 years rather than 5 years. But we'll see. But again, also that needs to have a vet involved. So again, that's then where it's, I think, going to prove a little bit challenging. Is a lot of this, that if there's something that's not right, even if it's not me that's in ownership or in control of the site, it's then sort of on my head.
It's under your care.
If it isn't right or goes wrong, which is a challenge of being a vet, really. So,
and that's the way it is here as well. Even with us nurses taking on more responsibility, our responsibility is to the patient, but we can't do anything without your say-so. So really, the nurse's responsibility is to tell you if we're concerned about something, and if you don't act on it, then it's on you. So it is always on the vet. But
also, let's say at Wildside, if there was a situation where, I don't know, let's say we had darted a mountain lion to anaesthetise it, and somebody thought it was asleep, and without even saying anything to me, just opened up the slider on the cage, and then it jumps up and runs out and attacks someone. Even if I didn't actually have any direct input on that decision making, if I was stood there, it would be me that would be responsible as the vet, because it's always the vet who's responsible in these sort of situations. So so it would involve a lot of mutual trust in all sorts of ways. I probably ought to look at getting myself on a darting course as well, because although the two of the guys there can do it, it probably would make sense if I know more about it, really.
And just to understand.
We covered it very briefly in my certificut, but I didn't really
ever actually do any darting.
So.
We joked about it, didn't we, when you were doing it?
Well, so my career, there was a time where I came close to going to specialise in exotic work, and then just didn't go down that route, and then opening up here, I just never thought that it would ever actually
go this far.
Yeah, well, if someone had said to me, "Oh, one day, don't worry, you will end up an Eastside mountain bike," site, I would say, "Well, no, don't be silly. It's not going to happen now because of owning the practice and stuff." Like when you're in a practice ownership model like this, these sort of opportunities don't really come along that often.
No, but I suppose that is the nice thing about Vets for Pets. It's not corporate in the same way that there are other corporates where you've got sort of more limits really in some corporate practice as to what. And
although I don't think that the sports officers completely realise what mavericks we are. The people that need to know a little bit. Yeah. But it will be fine, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it'll be good.
So,
and I think we're just taking it because what we're doing is far removed from what's happening there now, really, because they haven't got a clinic or anything like that. We've just done our normal thing and taken it turned it up to 11 and just done everything.
Yeah, so they've got nothing on site, so it's also quite privileged to be involved in that decision making process to get something designed and made, and that comes with quite a lot of responsibility and pressure as well. Yeah, because I want to get that right for them to make it usable in the longer term as well.
And we like to be doing things properly, don't we? As a team, the whole team, we're like rule followers, and we just like to know what we're doing and do it well, don't we?
Yeah, so, exactly. So I think it's making it usable. It's making it easy to clean. It's making it accessible. It's making it legal, making it safe, all these sort of things. So, we shall see.
Definitely
exciting. Slightly like I've ended up partially project managing it, which I was not anticipating. I do not have a massive amount of time for. Well, no, I do have time for it. That's a lie. I make time for these sort of things.
It's just one of those things that's.
It just means there's other stuff that I really should be doing, which then just gets slightly put by the wayside. But I think from the team point of view, everyone's really excited. Everyone wants to get a chance to go out and just have a look and to help out as well. We're going to get it set up, and then we're going to arrange a couple of days for the whole team to go and explore the clinic and see some of the animals and meet Lindsay and the team and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think it'll be really good. Watch this space. We'll definitely have some YouTube stuff for sure, because I think we'll want to get out there what we're doing with the animals.
Yeah, and it'll be nice for the podcast just to go into depth on some of the animals, and for us just to get to know them, won't it? To know their stories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And their characters. And
yeah. I hope we're allowed to share as much as we can do, because some of them, of course, the situations that they've been rescued from are either confidential or, confidential, not something you want to broadcast, I suppose.
Could be a bit harrowing, I suppose, some of them as well.
Yeah, although to be fair, I think a lot of them there are animals that have been cared for. Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? With them, normally when they're young, they're handleable, they're happy, and hormones and things kick in, or they grow, and it is the same with a lot of these exotic species, from the meerkats up to the bigger things, where they just get territorial, and just they can no longer cope with that situation, which is when then they get handed to Lindsay. Yeah. So although I have no doubt there's will be plenty there that have really quite traumatic stories, I think there'll probably also be quite a lot that at some point probably were well loved, but that was just misplaced, inappropriate for the species. So but it'll be very exciting. So
that's it. It's like a little graph, isn't it? We get excited to start with, then you realise how much work there is, and the actual we take it very seriously with like the responsibility and everything, and then once we start doing it, we'll be enjoyable again. I think that what's the name of the curve, the circumference curve, which I've also memorised the name of it, and that I feel like at the start I was initially like, shall we? But then I thought, it doesn't come along that often. When are you going to
I'll say yes.
Yeah.
And I was very excited, felt very confident about it, whereas now I'm out of the pit of lack of confidence, where I then realise that actually all of the work and all of the time and all of the effort needs to go in to get it off the ground.
And to do it properly.
As a project, and to have it safe and legal and everything else. And now I feel like I'm on a slow upwards curve, trying to get my head around everything. But although I was thinking the only people I haven't spoken to, which I think I will speak to this week, is the Royal College of Vet Surgeons. Just for an RCVS opinion. I just need to work out what department to speak to. Just to make sure that there's nothing that I would be missing from a legislation point of view in working there. I just don't want any surprises.
No, that's it. Or to someone to say, you shouldn't have done this or shouldn't have done that.
I can't put anything at risk, which is a challenge because I'm a little bit of a risk taker in some ways. But I'm trying.
You can't take a risk with a big cat.
No, exactly. No, not a risk taker in that way, but in terms of like, obviously, like there would be the vast majority of other vets out there, if they were offered this, would just say no, it's not doable.
Yeah.
But I'm not that sort of person.
No, and I think a lot of the team it is sort of been a dream, but one that you don't think will happen in the UK, or especially in Hereford.
Or I think like Kate's would be the same as me, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying that. So Kate's our part-time vet, that she had wanted to work with zoo animals,
and especially
in her
gibbons.
early career. Especially gibbons.
And they didn't have any there till last week.
Yeah.
And then
but similarly, I think then kids, family, moving, all these sort of things.
Yeah.
I think it just falls by the wayside, doesn't it?
And still, I don't think there's that many vets that are just a zoo vet, or there's a limited amount that do this on the side of their normal small animal job as well.
There's probably a surprising amount that do, but I mean, there's not many collections that just have 11 mountain lions.
No.
So, like, for example, we cover the Home Lacey College work, where they've got like quite a collection of reptiles and things, and a few goats, but nothing, that exotic. But then the proper zoo work, like to be employed as a full-time zoo vet, is few and far between, and it's highly competitive, and poorly paid. Because anything that's highly competitive is poorly paid, and
you have to be on call a lot, which you are already. But for other vets, that might not be.
Well, you do and you don't, because if you have got a true zoological collection, when everyone goes home in the evening, no one's there. So nighttime work doesn't really exist except for really rare circumstances. But of course, there's the weekends, I suppose. Yeah, weekends. And bank holidays. But then, like, for me, weekends and bank holidays don't really exist anyway.
Yeah, we're just...
So, we shall see.
So, exciting stuff.
It's very exciting. Yeah. I don't sound that excited this morning because I'm just very tired. What am I on? I'm on day 12 out of 15 straight. So. And I got up at 5 this morning because I haven't... So... Thursday was going to be my park cleaning out day,
because you didn't start till 2 really.
But then Dudley, one of the goat kids, broke his leg, so then I had to come in and fix his legs, and I lost all those hours on Thursday morning, which then meant that I had to get up early this morning just to try and catch up a little bit. I've not got everybody cleaned out, but I've got most of them, all the ones that really needed doing.
And he did really well.
Yeah, he's like skipping around this morning. He squeezed, so the setup I've got there is not ideal, so when I open the pony's gate to get into their stable, it pushes his hurdles a bit, so it creates a little gap that he can get out of. So I'd gone into the Shetland ponies to mess around in there, and he'd squeezed out, and then he was skipping around the shed, and then he tried to jump up on top of the feed bins and fell back down, so then I had to go and like jump over the gate and shut him away again. So he's happy.
That's it. He's
just not having to be injected with the antibiotics each day. Because we had to open up the fracture site, which was annoying. I didn't want to do that.
No.
But I couldn't get the ends of the bones reduced and lined up correctly without just opening the skin up to be able to move a fragment to realign them.
Okay.
And so I'm really happy with how it realigns.
Oh, it looks really good on the X-rays.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Really good. And by the afternoon, he was standing on it as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. And he's young, so it should heal quick. But my worry is that because I've had to open up the ends of those bones, there's always a risk of infection afterwards. But he's young, he should heal pretty quick, so it should be okay.
And it was a nice opportunity for Abby, our student nurse, because she got to scrub in and help you. The only thing is that she's waiting for one X-ray, and because we get so many weird and wonderful things here, the one X-ray she hasn't got is a cat, because she hasn't been in.
We do X-ray cats as well.
Yeah, we do, but she just hasn't got one. So she's got like goats, she's got tortoises, she's got bearded dragons. I think she's got a few wildlife birds. But so she just needs a cat to get her signed off. So we want something normal this week. But her first scrubbing is on a goat, and she got to see a goat anaesthetic, which is
we nice. Need to do we need to get Lucy to do a cheat sheet
a goat anaesthetic,
because I feel like I've got that nailed. Actually, I'm quite happy with the goat anaesthesia protocol.
Yeah.
And again, just thinking Wildside, and we've got a couple of other goat clients. We're going to end up anaesthetising one for someone else at some point.
Yeah.
they're like breaking their legs and stuff all the time. So
And it just means then the nurses can get on and get everything set up ready, can't they?
yes, and I'm pretty sure you'd be able to extrapolate that to a deer or another small ruminant, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, so I don't know what other pet news I've got. I finished building the jackdaws aviary, so they're arriving Thursday.
Ooh.
So
that's cool.
that'll be exciting. I say finish, I just need to make the bath watertight. Just need to fill up the plug hole. So then they've got their little raised pond in there. I like giving them a pond because...
Can you? Oh, if you just put a plug in there, they would just pull it out?
No, it's not got a plug thing. It's just like the bath. It's not got like... I don't even know what it's called,
I
but
see
like
what
the attachments
you
aren't
mean.
in
How
there.
big
It's
is
just
it
a hole in the bottom of the bath.
Because you can get those travel plugs that go, they're quite big because they cover like the whole sink, so they're like universal travel plugs that you can take travelling with you.
That might work.
And
I'm just going to get some sealant.
I was going to say, because then you could just empty it when you wanted to. If it would fit, they're quite big.
Yeah, okay.
That might be unless they pull it out, that's the only thing.
Oh, they wouldn't pull it out because it'd be too deep. They wouldn't be able to get down.
Oh, okay, then that's right then.
But yeah, so I finally got that sorted. So next project will be putting a new roof on Jack and the pigeons' shed. So I need to get that sorted.
And we're just waiting to be able to let them out, aren't we?
Yeah, and I need to do some wiring in the aviary for the smaller birds because they chewed through the electrics to the garden shed last year. It was quite a fire risk for a while, but...
What do you think that was, the cockatiels?
No, I think it was the parakeets.
Oh,
it was either Telemachus or Sheila, I think. It wouldn't be the cockatiels. The budgies I don't think would be strong enough, it would be the parakeets. So yeah, so I need to cover up that with wire so they can't get to it. And then I picked up an old chest freezer from Nikki, which I'm going to put a window in and lighting and heating, and that's going to be Torty's new house.
Oh yeah, that's
so
really
he's
good.
going to have his little chest freezer, which is the right climate in there for him, with a little flap so we can go out into the garden.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So I was going to get like a walk-in freezer or a shed.
Yeah, you said.
But actually, I was thinking about it after the last podcast we did.
And he's not going to get much bigger. Was he as big as he's going to get?
No, he's big as he's going to get. So chest freezer with plenty of space. And it's fully insulated.
Yeah.
So
that's a really good idea.
Just work out how to put a window in it and to get hold of a little double glazed window.
Yeah, and make sure there's no chemicals or anything. But I don't think there is in the sides. It's just in the back of it, isn't it? Or
Yeah, I don't know.
Would be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I need to work out how I'm going to cut a hole in it, really. But yeah.
You could put it in the roof. It could be like a roof light.
You could actually. Yeah, I could.
Sunlight.
Yes,
You could see him from the top then as well.
Yeah. But I was thinking about putting it somewhere where you could see him inside it.
I suppose,
You're probably going to get all condensation anyway, and Emily doesn't want it visible, so she wants it on the side of the house. So to be fair, we're not going to be looking at it.
Yeah, because it would look a bit weird having a freezer in your garden.
I could clad it in something or paint it.
Yeah, you could just put some of like that bamboo stuff around it.
Yeah. No one will know.
Bless him. I read this week the big tortoises at Cotswold Wildlife Park. They're getting a new home, which is
they
nice.
Sort of need one. It's quite small.
That is the one thing I've always thought, especially if you go in the winter time and they're stuck in there. So that would be really nice.
Yeah. Where are they going to put them?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't say whether, but they just said that they're not on show at the moment because they're redoing the enclosure. But these are all the other tortoises that we've got here that you can see.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, nice to see them.
It'd be nice when we can let the chickens out again.
Yes.
Because it's not been a bird flu out.
No, there's not been any updates in ages.
7th of April, I think the last one was. The only updates that are on there are ones that have come out of quarantine.
Yeah.
Of the 10 kilometre
Well, I was
zones.
speaking to one of the APHA, the Animal Plant and Health Agency. So I was speaking to one of their vets this week about blue tongue, because the goat shows that we want to go to are in the blue tongue zone. So I just want to work out what we're doing. And apparently APHA is going to be issuing an update on blue tongue and showing next week.
Okay, that's quite close to all the shows though, isn't it?
Well, she was like, oh, don't worry, it's like as long as you get it in 10 days beforehand. I was like, yeah, but they're so slow at doing things.
Close.
I still haven't heard back from the isolation unit that we set up either. So, well, they did have an email about that, asking some questions. So, but we'll see. So lots of projects, and then we're also starting to think, because we've been given notification that Mum and Dad want us out of our house. So we're very lucky. We're very lucky. We're very privileged for living where we're living, and very, very fortunate. But in the next, they want us out in 12 months, but it's not realistic. They very kindly said they'd offer towards a house deposit to get us out. Not completely altruistic, is it? They want to get us out, so they're like, we'll help you with the deposit. But
It's finding somewhere that's got enough space
I need to
and
work
what you need, isn't it?
And we're not really in the financial position to get the right sort of mortgage. We're going to need the next 12 months to get that sorted. Yes, that would be another project. Yeah, I don't really have any
The project
knowledge.
will be moving everything.
Yeah, although I'm quite excited for that, because although we've been living where we are for 10 years, and it is where I grew up, we've always been sort of treating it on the understanding that we're not going to be staying there long term. So it always has felt a bit like we're making do.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things that I often look at and think, oh, if I was actually like...
And you'll do it from fresh and get it exactly how you want it.
And relationships are slightly strained with parents, and there's never been any offering of any involvement in the farming situation. So I never felt inclined to work on the building or anything, because we've always been told that we're not to stay there. So it'd be nice to have something of our own that we can actually get it how we want it, which I'm quite looking forward to. I couldn't care less what the house would be like. It's the outside space.
Yeah, that'd be...
Emily feels slightly otherwise.
Yeah, I think,
Well, actually, no, she just wants to have 4 bedrooms. She wants the kids to have a bedroom each.
Yeah,
and have a spare room.
Nice, especially as they get older.
Yeah, and we need 2 bathrooms. 1 bathroom is getting a bit of an issue.
And you'll get all those extra bedrooms, and then they'll all just be sleeping in with you anyway.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do at the moment. They're both in our bed last night. So I didn't sleep that well last night, actually, because I draw it on me.
Oh, bless her.
Yes. Anyway, we better get it wrapped up on that.
Yeah, better get and do some work.
Shorter podcast, because we had a timing mishap, didn't we?
Yeah, for some reason I put it on Rota Cloud, which is our rota thing, as 9:30, even though we always do it at 9.
So I came in for 9:30, because I didn't question it.
And then I set all my alarms for the week on Tuesday, and didn't even think, why have I put it for 9:30?
You set all your alarms for the week?
Yeah, on a Tuesday evening, at the end of my weekend, I set all of my alarms, make sure they're all ready to go. What do you do? Oh, you just get up at 5 o'clock anyway.
Well, I set an alarm every morning for 6, but I always get up before it. I'm one of those people, like this morning, I had set my alarm for 6.
Yeah.
But last night I thought to myself, I really want to get up at 5 because I'm going to get the animals cleaned out. And I'm that sort of person, if I just say to myself, I'm going to get up at this time, I will just wake up at that time.
No way.
So yeah, like 4:45 this morning, I woke up and I lay there for a few minutes, like, I probably ought to get up.
It's my biggest fear of I hate like being late for things, and I never am. I don't think I've ever. When my alarm hasn't come off or I've overslept, but that's one of my big worries.
When I'm really tired, I will wake up with the alarm. The alarm will go off and I wake up, but
especially in the winter. In the summer, it's not like today.
Winter is
I didn't
more
need
challenging.
It.
Yeah, but no. Apparently, it's a thing though. Apparently, there's some people that can do that.
Yeah.
They can just decide when to wake up.
Yeah, and then they just. How do you? Does your brain know what time?
I don't know. And some people can't. I think it is just a you can thing.
If I've got to get up really early, I just don't sleep very well. Like say we've got a flight or something, and then I just keep waking up to see what time it is to make sure that I don't miss the time.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I didn't realise that I'd put 9:30. I'll have to go through Rota Cloud now and make sure I haven't put 9:30 on all of them.
You probably would have
suddenly decided.
Anyway, give me time to do a bit more cleaning out, so the animals are happy.
That's fine.
Right.
See what we've got in store for today.
Yeah, we've got a poorly cat coming down for 10:30. I told to come down last night.
And I think I've mainly got a diet consult and maybe I think I've got 1 booster and some just normal nurse appointments.
Yeah, not sure what I've got.
It should be nice.
Better try and get my brain fully functional for the day.
Especially when you don't have caffeine either. I just get myself a cup of tea.
Yeah, I can't. It gives me migraine. Just can't do it anymore. But also don't really have refined sugar, so I don't actually quite know how I exist some days.
I think it's better long term though.
Yeah, I don't know. Right. Thank you for listening, everybody. This has been the Vet with Pets podcast, sponsored by Vets Pets Hereford. I've been Elliot.
I've been Becky.
And we'll see you next time.